It's good. I like it. It's good. I have not touched the thermostats in ages,
Adam?
Nobody complains.
I like
Okay, you're doing a good job.
Okay, Rabotai, we have 10 packets. I did something very different this week than usual. Usually, I print the Gemara and I bring like a massive bag of Sefarim from my house. This time, I'm tired. My arm hurts. I donated blood today at Cedar Sinai. My arm hurts. So what I did instead was I printed a whole packet for everyone. Well, I'm going to test it out and see how it works. But it was so many papers that I did 10 packets, and I figured people can share. Mashallah, we have a lot of people here. So share with somebody. David, you share with me, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
The shi'ud, no, it's okay. The shi'ud is the Ilui Nishmat, Yehuda ben Rahel, who is the father of David, and your brother's name is what? Edan. David and Edan Selak. Good guys. The Ilui Nishmat, their father, very good guys. We miss seeing you guys. You at least. Your brother, I'm sure, is good too. We miss seeing you, David. And also, Liron, your grandmother passed away 2 days ago. Her name is? Vidya Bat Svia. The Neshamot should go high. The berachot that we say, have in mind, guys, beracha harona, at least have in mind for the Ilui Neshamot, and the Torah that we learned should help them out in Shaman. Let's start from the top. Today's shiur also is a little different. So it's very different in a lot of ways. The other difference is I was in Miami this week, and I was not by my bookshelf with all my books. So I brought along with me Halakha Birat to Florida, and I read a beautiful teshuvah from Mecham David Yosef, Shalita. And I figured I want to make this the shiur because I thought it was very interesting. And so we'll start with the Gemara, but it's going to be really a halakha shiur. The Gemara in Shabbat is on the top page. It didn't print so great, but what could you do? Gemara Shabbat, amen. Gemara Shabbat says, Ve'amar Rabba, Ve'amar Rabba, Bad Mehasiya, Amar Rab Hama, Bad Nuria, Amar Rab. What did they say? Kol Eid Shegagoteha Gevuhin Mibeta Knesset Lesof Hareba. Any city where the houses are taller than the Bet Knesset, the houses are going to be destroyed. Don't leave the shi'ur until the end of the shi'ur, guys. The houses, Bar Minan, Lo Alenu, are going to be destroyed because they're violating. Efe Yoshua. He has it. You have a Gemara over there. Okay. So the Gemara, Nachon. He's Beseder. Okay. So the Gemara says very strong words. You got to make sure the Bet Knesset is taller than your house. Okay. Shneimad, as it says, and then the pasuk. What I did was, it's a pasuk in Ezra. Look at the next page. I brought the whole chapter for you. So what is this talking about? Ezra chapter 9. Ezra chapter 8, the chapter before this, is talking about how Ezra, he brought all these people from Babel to Yerushalayim, and he counted all the people, and he said, great, we're going to have the temple. Anybody Levi? Yeshkan Levi. This is the minhag we got. The minhag Sfaradim. Hey, Avi, how you doing? The minhag Sfaradim, that we have no Levim Bekeneset, it comes from Ezra. Kohen they had. But Yehoshua, Ezra Sofer in Perek Het, he said, Yeshkan Levi? Nobody. There were no Levim in Israel. And so Rashi says in Masechet Kiddushin, there really were Levim. Does everybody know this? There really were Levim, but they couldn't serve in the temple. Anybody know why? No. The Gemara in Gittin says that Nebuchadnezzar, Harasha, when he destroyed the Bet HaMikdash, he came in, and what was going on right when he came in? The Levim were singing songs in the Bet HaMikdash. And so he comes in with his guys, he says, Tamshich, play me some music. You guys are good. Play it for me now. They bit their fingers off with their teeth. They bit their thumb off with their teeth. They said, we'll never play for you. And that's why the Tehillim says, how could we sing? We have no fingers. We can't play songs without fingers. And so this is what Rashi says. So Ezra Sofet chapter 8 comes, any Levim with fingers? No Levim. What did he do? he sent it, Bavel, he said, hey, we need some Nevi'im families. And they brought some Nevi'im. Right after that comes this, chapter 9. Chapter 9 says, when they finished, everyone approached, and Ezra Sofer made a tefillah LaHashem. A lot of these words, you could see, we say some of these words. Whenever we pray the Tahanun, some of the words come from here. If you look at Pasuk 9, Ki avadim anachnu, because we are servants, Abdutenu lo azavanu elokenu, and in our servitude we did not abandon our God. Vayet elanu chesed lefnei malchei Paras, and he gave us kindness before the king of Paras. Latet lanu mechya, to give us sustenance. Leromem et bet Elohenu, to uplift, to raise up, make it high, the house of our God. Ulha'amid et chobotav, and to stand the destroyed houses. So therefore, as Asopher says, since we bring the Bet HaMikdash high, Leromem et bet Elohenu, then your cities are not going to be destroyed. What if you're not Romem et bet Elohenu? What if you make the Bet HaMikdash and the Bet HaKnesiyot low and your house is high? The Sof Neherav. This is the pasuk in Ezra Sofer. So let's go back to the Gemara. This rabbi in the Gemara is literal. Listen to what he's saying. Kol Eid shegagoteha gevohin mibet haKnesset lasof hareba sheneemar leromem et bet Elohenu ula'amid et habotenu. Says the Gemara. Vehani mili. This is only talking about the batim, the houses are taller than the shul. If the house is taller than the shul, no good. Abal b'kaskuse v'abrure. Rashi says this means towers. Let's say you have in your house a big tower. No one's living in there. It's just a tall tower. That doesn't count. It could be taller than the Bet Knesset. Only thing that can't be taller is living space. Living space cannot be taller than the Bet Knesset, says the Gemara. Doesn't say anything about Israel. In fact, they lived in Bavel. The rabbi who said this lived in Bavel. Amar Abashi, Amar Abashi, Anna Abdi Lemata Mehasya Delo Hareba. I made sure that the town of Mehasya was lower than the shul, and it was never destroyed because I made sure their houses were lower than the shul. The Gemara says, V'ha Hareba. What are you talking about? Mehasya was destroyed. The Gemara answers, no, it was not destroyed from that sin. And so therefore the Gemara is finished. The Gemara stops. And it seems from here, halakha peshuta, you cannot have a house taller than the Bet Knesset. This is what it seems right now. Let's see what the Rambam, you think Rambam Shulchan Aruch say this or no? Maybe. So let's turn to the third page. Rambam. One of these packets is very small print. You're going to have different pages than everybody else. I was testing. Kol makom, what is this? This is Rambam. Rambam, Hilchot Tefillah, chapter 11. Kol makom sheyesh b'asam Yisrael, anytime you have 10 Jews, tzarich le'achin lo bayit she'yikanesu bo tefillah, you have to make a shul, b'chol ha'it. Tefillah, makom zeh nikra bet HaKnesset. This place is called a shul. V'kofin b'nei ha'ir zeh zeh levnot lahem bet HaKnesset. You force people to contribute to the money to build a shul. They have to buy Tanakh. Next halakha Rambam. When you build a shul, you need to build the shul in the highest part of the city. If there's a hill, you build the shul on top of the hill. And we make the shul very tall. Mikol Hatzrot Ha'id. It should be higher than all the houses. Rambam halakha l'maaseh. Shneimar ulromem et bet Elohenu. Ve'en potechin petchei bet HaKnesset ela b'mizrach. And then he goes into other laws about the shul. Rambam says straight up halakha l'maaseh. This Gemara, he says in halakha, if you live in a village and the shul is not so tall, 1 story high, you can't make your house 2 stories high. If you're Rambam. Amazing halakha. Shulchan Aruch. Next page. Shulchan Aruch. En bonin bet HaKnesset Ela begovha shir'i. Same words as Harambam. Umagbihin oto ashi gavoy mikol batei ha'id. The only difference in here is he uses the word batei ha'id instead of the hatzirim. Shemishtamashim bahem, the places that you use. It has to be shimush, not a tower. If it's a place where a living space, it can't be told in the shul. La'afuke beraniyot pirush binyanim ha'osim lenoi. It's just for decoration. Tall towers for decoration don't count. Targum. Shechviyat ha'hemda. Moshe, help me out with that. Beraniyut shepiran. It means towers, fancy towers for aesthetics, not living space. Those are okay. Make them as tall as you want. Marash Rahalo continues. Migdalim, towers. She'em mishtamishim bahem, that you don't live in them. Ve'gag she'u mishupa, and a slanted roof, that you don't do nothing on the slanted roof. Ve'en ha'ulu tashmish, you can't use it. Misha'arin and ha'makom she'u ha'ulu tashmish. Those don't count. The roof that's slanted doesn't count. Only the living space counts. So the highest living space in your house has to be lower than the shul. Living space. So if on top you have a tall roof, that doesn't count. If the roof is flat and you can use it, it counts. It can't be taller than the shul. Okay? Da'inu, she'im yesh aliyah tahat hagag, if there's an attic under the roof, lo teheg gavoa yoter min bet haKnesset, marash Shulchan Aruch. The attic cannot be taller than Bet Knesset. Who keeps this halakha? What city do they keep this halakha in? Everywhere. Everywhere. Let's see. We have to try to find the heter, yeah? Haga. Haga is Ramoshi Israelis. Rama. What does he say? Ubishat hadahak, if it's a pressing circumstance, or sheyesh emat malchut, or you're afraid of the non-Jewish government, which means what are you afraid of? You're afraid to make your shul tall. Emat malchut. Okay. She'en rashaim lebanot bet haKnesset kedino. Then says the Rama, Yeshua, is Ramoshi Israel, this is Ashkenaz. Mutar litpalel babayit afa pi shedarin ba'aliyah al gabav. Another halakha. You're allowed to pray in a house with a residence above the house, says the Rama.
Huh? A residence above the shul?
Yeah, a residence above the shul. Ubebad shianhigu ba'aliyah sha'alav b'nikiyut. You have to have nice, good conduct on top of the Bet Knesset. No funny business. Which we'll do in a second. Let's do the next seif. Shulchan Aruch, same page. Okay, someone didn't listen, and he built a mansion, 4 stories. What do we do to the guy?
Knock it down.
You tell the guy, hey, what's the opposite of renovation? Denovation?
Demolition.
Make it the shul. Yeah, it's even worse.
Demolition.
Take it down. This is the parentheses, Rama. If it just has one corner is really, really high, sagi bekach, it's enough, which means if you take the shul, Ezra, Rama, that's why Harambam says, you're supposed to build the Bet Knesset on the high part. But hold on.
But the building itself is supposed to be also.
Yeah, both things. We do it on the hill, so it's the tallest. The Mila is the tallest.
But if I'm doing 1-story house on the hill,
yeah. So
here I'm doing 2 stories.
So it seems that it only goes by altitude. So it goes by. Okay, Rabotai, the Rama here has a heter. I'm saying heter because Ashkenaz. The Rama's heter is take the Bet Knesset, take one corner of it, make it all the way high, like an elevator, 6 stories high. Bet Knesset is tallest in the whole shul, in the whole city. The Rama says, "Sagi bekach." It's enough to do this. Now, where did the Rama get this from? That I can live on top of a Bet Knesset? So I want you to, if you don't mind, fast forward to the Meiri. It's towards the end. I should have put it in earlier. It's a couple of pages afterwards. We'll go back here, so save the page. I wrote in my pen, Meiri al Shas. 2 pages later, I think, on the bottom in purple. I wrote Me'idi al Hashas. See it? Me'idi al Hashas. It's like Yeshua. There's 3 pages from the end. Oh, you have the little one. Okay, look with the doctor. Le'olam says the Me'iri. Read this slow because there's a lot here. Le'olam. Ye adam nizhar shelo yeh gagot, lo yiyu gagot beto, gavuhim bebet haKnesset. You can't be higher than the shul, like the Gemara says. Kol eir shegagotea gavuhim bebet haKnesset lesof hareba. God forbid, any city that has taller houses than the shul will be destroyed. Shneimad le'romem et bet Elohenu ulha'amid et horbotenu. However, Davka bebayit ha'asu ledira. Only residences can't be taller than the shul. Abba, biraniyot, umigdalim, towers and fancy structures that are not for living. Ha'asuyam lehazok ha'id, which are made to, I guess, impress, make the city more impressive, I guess you would say. Or habayit, or make the house more impressive. Or the besor homa, behem anakriim kisukusakeh, the abrure. They are towers, like Rashi said. In Bazimini Akila, that's okay. Don't worry about the tall towers. We only care about houses. Now says the Me'iri, important words. V'chen handin v'shesibat hagbahato ena derech sirara ela leharbot b'diurin v'aliyot. Me'iri says,
not for beauty.
If the building you built that is so tall is not for fancy, not for luxury, not for only because you need it. You need people to live. You need houses like apartments. And look at the words he says. Va'aliyot. Va'aliyot. You need levels. It seems like on top of the shul maybe. Is the Me'iri talking about aliyot on top of the shul? Or he's talking about an apartment building? Some people want to say the Me'iri is saying from here you can live on top of a shul. The words of the Me'iri. We don't know what he's talking about. A lot of people want to say Me'iri is saying you can live on top of a shul because you need houses. Some people say no, you're reading the Me'iri wrong. However, regardless, he gives a heter. And the Me'iri says if it's for necessity, where there's not enough housing or affordable housing, we need apartments. Or you have a lot of people in your family and you need a big house, you got to do it. Now, the Me'iri is not giving a heter. If you have 4 people in your house and you want to build a 7-room mansion, I don't see a heter from Me'iri so
But
far.
he's telling you when you build it, not after the fact.
Hold on. Good points. 1 second. Everything you're saying, we're going to get to. Hold on. Now, the Me'iri continues. In some of the books of the French, which we're going to talk about French in a minute, right, Moshe? ובחבורי צרפת ראיתי דווקא בגגות שלהם שהיו משתמשים בהם, אבל בגגות שלנו אין אחוז. The French author says, our roofs, we don't use our roofs like they used to use the roof. We don't use it anymore. So don't worry about the roof, only goes by the living spaces. Me'iri has a heter specifically, and he says you're allowed to build taller if you need living area, if you need it. And maybe if you need to live on top of the shul. You don't know what Shaarey is saying. Okay, now we're going to move on to Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah is on the Shulchan Aruch, written by the Hafetz Haim. Hold on, we're going to get there, Yerushalayim. We're going there soon. First Mishnah Berurah, soon. Mishnah Berurah, which is I think 2 pages before this Me'iri. Hey, Mishnah Berurah, Hafetz Haim. Number 8. Gaboa mikol batei ha'id. The shul has to be higher than everywhere else. Says Mishnah Berurah, Shneimar le'romem et bet Elohenu. V'yesh mikomot, some places she'en nizharim bazeh. They don't care about this law. Says Mishnah Berurah. A lot of cities they don't care about this law. The houses are much higher than the shul. V'chadvu ha'aharonim, and the Aharonim wrote she'atam. What's their reason? V'kivan yesh sham harbe batei ovdei gilimim shegavuhim mibet haKnesset. Im ken belav hachileka hekera lebet haKnesset. Says the Me'iri, if you're living in a non-Jewish place and the goyim anyway are building mansions, they ruined it. The shul's not going to be the tallest house in the city anyway. I can't stop a goy from building a big mansion. And so once there are non-Jewish mansions, yalla, throw the towel in. Let's build some Jewish mansions also. This is what Mishnah Berurah, who's Ashkenaz is Faradi. Ashkenaz. As Mishnah Berurah says, is another leniency these days. In other words, they ruined it. We want to do it. What about in Israel? It's a big problem. But at least in America, for now, you can say, hey, I live in America. Go down Chandler. They have huge houses down Chandler. They're not all Jewish. And so what am I going to do? Make my house smaller? No one's going to tell the difference. There's 15 houses bigger.
But this law was given for the fact for Jews not to build their houses. Nothing to do with Goyim.
Good. Very good. You're good. Hold on to it. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, you should really try to keep this law and keep your house short. If it's possible. The Gemara is very strict on this. Okay. Next page. So now we have two questions that we're trying to wrestle with. Question number 1. Can my house be taller than the shul these days? Question 2. Can I live on top of a Beit Knesset? Can I build a shul on the first floor and have living on the second floor? Two separate questions that come from this meat eating. Hopefully tonight I'll give you both answers. If not, I'll give you one tonight, one next night. Hopefully tonight both. All right. Now, the Sefer,
there are many premises to this halachot that today would be virtually impossible to follow.
Yeah, like
They're talking about towns. They're talking about towns and keilot where there was a shul. Okay, so you knew it. Now, supposedly, let's say you want to follow the halacha today. There are 50 shuls around over here. Do you know how tall they build them? What do they do?
that's his question. I have the same question. I didn't see an answer. Does it go by your shul or does it go by a shul in the city? Now, I might have an answer at the end that I think will answer this question. Does it go by any shul in the city? As long as there's one shul taller, halas, we're all good. Or it has to be your shul. Let's see.
it's more than
talking about city that
Yeah.
not the same city like now.
In Chutz La'aretz or Eretz Israel? What are you talking about?
The Eretz Israel or the Chutz La'aretz.
The Eretz Israel, Gan?
No city גדולים. זה מדובר על עיירות קטנים.
It doesn't say that in the Gemara. It says Kol Eid. Yerushalayim is Eid. Tel Aviv is Eid. It doesn't say. We have to find a heter. We have to find the heter because everybody's doing it. So we're going to try.
no question for destroying these, no?
Sorry, what?
That means that you can't establish a shul in the basement.
That's a question. Are you allowed to have a shul below living area? So living space above would be the issue. So we're going to get there. Okay, guys, let's go through the pages.
Sell in Israel, Nesser. It's on the lower level
Yeah.
and everything is above it.
Is it a problem? Okay, let's see, guys. We're gonna get all the answers. Kafa Haim Akadosh. We have some Sparadim now. Kafa Haim. Rabbi Yaakov Sofer. He says it's a pretty long one. The page is. I didn't put page numbers. It's two from the end or 3 from the end. 3 from the end. Kafa Haim. It's a long one. Let's read it. It seems that this halakha is only for a fully Jewish city. These days, where is the Kafa Haim? He's in Baghdad, in Iraq. Now that we're living with the non-Jews and we are the minority, what is lama titra'u? 10 points. What is lama titra'u? But what is it? Where is it from?
Don't meet.
The brother של יוסף.
Yes, the brothers of Yosef. Yaakov Avinu told the brothers when there was a famine, lama titra'u, go to Egypt, get food. Remember this one? Lama titra'u means what? Al pi pshat. Why are you afraid? Rashi, lama titra'u, does Rashi say? Why are you making believe that? Why are everyone seeing that you're okay? You should make believe you're suffering also. Rashi says that Yaakov had plenty of money. Yosef had plenty of money. They didn't have to go get food. Yaakov says, "Lama tetra'u b'pnei hagoyim." Why are you showing them that we're doing good? Keep a low
He's
profile.
actually saying build lower.
Exactly. That's the proof. So Yaakov Avinu says, make believe you're starving. Don't get sinat hagoyim alecha. Make believe you're starving. Same thing here. Kafahim says, mutav lekayem ba'atzmenu lama titra'u. Make your houses lower. Don't make all the non-Jews jealous of your house. V'nashpil batenu biyoter. And make it very low. That's halomad. Yoter mit haKnesset. Make it lower from the Bet Knesset. Not lower than the houses of the Goyim. Don't worry about the houses of the Goyim. Just worry about the Bet Knesset. If we make our houses low in Baghdad, he says, we'll fulfill the halakha and we'll be good in the eyes of the non-Jews. They won't hate us. We'll lower anti-Semitism. Who says this? The Bah. Ayin Taz. Look at the Taz. Abal. Hamagen Abraham. Ashkenazi or Sfaradi? Ashkenazi. Katav. De'achshav in nizharim bazeh mishum diyesh emat ha'akum. Ashkenazi, Magen Avraham says, we don't keep this halakha anymore because we're afraid of the goyim. What does it mean we're afraid? We're afraid. We don't want to make our shul too big.
Sure.
We don't want to make our shul too long. But Rohi, if you're afraid of the goyim, you should make your houses short also. If you make your houses giant also, that should be. So it should go both ways. No,
somebody have palace higher. The goyim עושים לו צרות גם כן.
Can, but that's not what he's saying. Magen Avraham is saying, because it Emat HaGoyim, make the shul small. We should understand, it also means make your house small. It also means make your house small.
V'im tomar nashpil betenu.
V'im tomar nashpil betenu. If you're going to say, fine, let's make our houses short. Yesh lomar. Im tomar nashpil betenu. If you're going to say, make your houses short, yesh lomar. The kivan, this is a great one. The kivan deyesh harbe baten nochrim be'ayir. We said this since there's a lot of big houses of non-Jews already in the city. Shegevohim bet haKnesset. They're already told in the shul. Imken belav hachi leka hekera lebet haKnesset. There is no way that anyone could see. Wow, look at the shul. We can't control the goyim, and therefore forget about it. Lidhok liyashev haminhag. This is a way. Lidhok. Lidhok is dahak. It's a way to squeeze in leniency. A heter for this minhag. Okay, let's skip to the end of the sentence. Or sin siman. Still, you should always make a siman in the Bet HaKnesset. Make one spot really tall in the Bet HaKnesset. If you're allowed to, make one part of the shul really, really tall. Okay, now look. Al dafan iskad shekatav. Dim has b'shalom. I skipped 2 lines. Dim has b'shalom. 1 line. Dim has b'shalom ha'yid nechiraba me'otu avon. If God forbid the city was destroyed because of this city, shegagotea givuhin me'vet haKnesset en hakadosh baruch hu atil la'achzira. Hashem will not rebuild the city. Strong. Okay, hold on. Ve'alkin says the Kafahim. You have to be very, very careful. You see a pattern, Rabotai. The Sfaradim are much more strict than the Ashkenazim with this. Make your houses lower if possible. We read this. Okay. Okay, now. Mi'iri al-Ashas we did already. Kafahim says you really should try to make it short, but the Magen Avraham says you can make it lower. Next, Shulchan Aruch, Siman 152. Let's turn the page. Shulchan Aruch, different Siman. 152 says as follows. Yesh li zahed, you should be careful. Milahishtamesh ba'aliyot sha'al gabe Bate HaKnesset. Tashmish kabua shel genai. You should be careful not to use the space on top of a shul for a not nice permanent usage. Kegon, to sleep there. Ushtad tashmishim. You should not sleep, says Maran Shulchan Aruch. Maran Shulchan Aruch, Rabotai. You should not sleep on top of a shul. And then he says, hold on. And then he says, Yeshli istapek. Guys, Rabotai, we're graduating. Ezra, Rabotai, in Shaarey Yerushalayim, we are graduating from halakha to Gemara, which means we're building the halakha. We're building the halakha. It's coming. Yesh listapek. Yesh listapek. There is to doubt. Im mutar lishtamesh sham. I'm not sure. Marash Haruch. I'm really not sure if you're allowed to use that area at all. The area on top of Bet Knesset. See what he says? Yesh listapek im mutar lishtamesh sham. I don't know. Not sure. Think about it. If you're allowed to live on top of a shul. Hatunot. Rama. Let's see the Rama Haga. Now, do you think the Rama is going to be lenient or strict?
Already.
No, they're all lenient. This whole parasha, they're all lenient. This whole booklet, they're lenient. In general. But right now, this whole booklet, they're all lenient. Says the Rama, Haga, v'chol ze dafka bebet hakneset kavua. This is only a permanent shul, shenevneh metechila lekach, which was built in the building on the bottom floor with the intention. This is a Bet Knesset, not chick-chock, they put a shul. No, they built it and they said, this is our shul. Abal, Bayit, Sheyahadu Lahad, Shenevneh Bet Knesset, if you have a house.
That's the Rama.
The Rama, again the Rama, Ashkenaz.
Because during COVID, many people
very good.
Converted
They learn the house.
into a Bet Knesset.
Exactly.
The bedroom is on the.
So Maran Shulchan Aruch says, Maran Shulchan Aruch. Okay, but who says the Kavua thing? Right, but who says this? The Rama says this. But the Rama says this, not Maran Shulchan Aruch. This is the Rama. So if we're Mekil, we're grabbing the Rama. Okay,
So
next.
all of those Sephardim that they did,
They're all strict.
they were doing
Hold on.
like during COVID.
Hold on. Let's finish the packet. Mishnah Berurah, I know somebody who spent a long time putting all these sources for you in a packet. Unbelievable. I don't know. It's one after another. It's everything you need. I don't know. Okay, Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says Tashmish Kabua. Yeah. What a service, huh? Tashmish Kabua. Mishnah Berurah says on the Rama says only a permanent shul is not allowed. Mishnah Berurah says, Milashon ze mashma, to the Shkab, how do you say this? To sleep there, bederech mikre mutad, if we want to take a nap over there or put the couch on top of the shul, no problem, just not a bed. Bederech mikre lo mikri shechibat tashmish. Okay, fine. Mishnah Berurah Mem Aleph, skip one, go to Mem Aleph. Stay on the same page, just skip two down. But a house that they added a shul to, for sure, when they originally built it, they said, this is a shul, and on top is an apartment. It was b'chavana. For sure, Mishnah Berurah, Ashkenazi, but still, he says for sure it's allowed. Because then the elevation on top, the second floor, is not hukdash. It's not holy. Still, the yishtamesh on tashmish shehu miguneh me'od ketinuf v'chayotze bazeh nir'ed b'chol gavni asur. Still, even if they built the house with the intention that there's a house on top of a shul, you can't put something not nice like a toilet on top of the Bet HaKnesset. He doesn't say hechal. He says Bet Knesset. Hold on. Right now, he doesn't say hechal. Hold on. ועל כן, אין לעשות כלל בית הכנסת אם יש בהדירה שלמעלה ממנו דבר מגונה כזה. If something not nice is on top, you can't put the shul below. You have to see what's on the floor above. Go check what's there. If something's not nice, you have a Buddhist. He's worshiping his Buddha right on top of the Beit Knesset. No, you can't do it. Okay. The Taz says this. V'ayin sham. Shekatav, Sheneyanash, Bazeh Habeh. What does that mean? What does this mean? You see these words? The Taz, Ve'ayin Sham, go look over there. Shekatav, that he writes, Sheneyanash, Bazeh Habeh. He was punished a lot for this. What are talking about? I'm going to show you. The same guy who did this, he put that for you. Umash min haga olam ba'ayarot. That's for you, Yeshua. Umash min haga olam ba'ayarot. שסוחרים בתי כנסיות לזמן בבתים תחתיים ולמעלה מהם בטירה. Everybody does this. They have shuls on the bottom, they have houses on the top. Shematsui sham tinokot, and on top of the Bet Knesset is a baby with a dirty diaper. Dirty diaper. With bad ma'us, this disgusting things on top. If shad mishum shul isman lo hashinan lezeh. Maybe since it's only a temporary shul, it's okay. Maybe. Mishnah Berurah, Ashkenazi. Look at the bottom one. Umikol makom shomed nafsho yirhak mehem. If you care about your life, don't get involved in this whole thing. Don't live on top of a shul. Ubifrat makom shu neged ha'echal. Especially if it's on top of the Hechal HaKadosh, don't rent that apartment. He says the whole shul you shouldn't, if you care about yourself, but especially the Hechal. I don't know. What happened? Are you serious?
What?
There's a shooting on top of the shul in Tarzan. We're almost done. Rabotai, we're almost done. Wow, I didn't think we were going to do the whole thing today. Symbolically.
Ventura?
Storage of something in the shul in the apartment, that being used for any storage and everything.
Yeah, but the problem is that you can't sleep there then. You can't sleep in the shul. You can't make your shul your bedroom.
Can't even sit there in this private space.
Or they're in this. Guys, let's finish. I want to finish this. I want you to go home with the answer today. I'm afraid that he wants to take a hammer and start smashing down his house. We haven't finished the halakha today. Yesh leistapek. What is this I'm reading from last page? This is the biur halakha. Who wrote the biur halakha? No. The same person as Mishnah Berurah. The Havetz Chaim wrote it. Biur halakha on top. Biur halakha. You have the small one, Yeshua, or the big one? Let me see yours. You have the small. The one of the packets is different than the rest of them. Biur halakha. Yesh leistapek. Maran Shulchan says, I'm not sure if he could live on top of a shul. This is only talking about you want to use the space on top of the shul. Sorry, we're not talking about top of a shul. Maran Shulchan says, Yesh leistapek what? Yesh leistapek if you could. What was his words? Yesh leistapek. Where is it? Somebody? Yesh leistapek. No? What was his words? What was Maran Shulchan's words? He says, Mishnah Berurah, Kapahayim, Epo. Oh, here. Yesh leistapek im mutar leishtamesh sham. If you have it on, the aliyah. If you have it on top of a shul, we don't know if you're allowed to use it. Says the biur halakha. You should know. This is only talking about if the attic, the space on top of the shul, is a room. And you can't really tell. People can't tell from the street, oh, someone's living on top of the shul. Maybe it's okay. You want to play soccer? Or put a basketball court on top of the roof of the Bet Knesset? You want to put clothes out to dry? Or perot or fruit, you want to dry some coffee beans on top of the roof. If the roof is even, everyone can see this. Peshita de asud. Obviously, it's asud. It's actually Mishnah Shelema and Masechet Megillah that says you cannot do it. Next, biur halakha. Mutad. You can sleep. It's finished. Mishnah Berurah says, and hiluk. There's no difference between Israel and America. It's the same halakha. And so we have a problem. Everyone's doing this. We need to find a reason for they can do it. Magen Avraham says, and the third Magen Avraham there, to sleep on it. This is where the Mishnah Berurah got it from. Magen Avraham. Now, Mishnah Berurah says that the Taz wrote he was punished for this. What is this talking about? Let's read the Taz. Taz is the Turei Zahav. The Taz says as follows. Nid'eh. כל שכן אם בשעה שבנה בית הכנסת בנה בית דירה למעלה ממנה דשארי. If, Ashkenaz by the way, if you built, at the time that you built the shul, you also built the dira on top of it, on condition, it's allowed. Then the upper space was not made holy. Abal, tashmish shel bizayon me'od, but a very disgusting use on top of the Bet Knesset. נראה דבכל גבני אסור. It's asur. כגון, for example, akum, a non-Jew living on top of the shul. Who knows what he's doing up there? Or tinuf, or dirty things.
שירותים שם.
Shirutim, that's tinuf. דהה בסימן נ"ה אמרינן, דאלו מפסיקים לעניין סילוף למנות אמן, אף אגב דאם מחיסה של בזיל מפסקת בין ישראל ביום שמיים, כל שכן כאן דדבר מאוס יפסיק את התפילה של בית הכנסת לעלות מעלה לשמיים, עד כאן. Not עד כאן, that's עד כאן. He says, the halakha is, if you have in your shul, if you have in the shul that you're praying in a dirty diaper that smells, you can't pray, and if you do, it's going to stop the tefillah from going up to Shema, to go up to Hashem. Kol sheken, he says, if you have, listen to what he's saying, if you have a Bet Knesset, and the tefillot are going up, 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 and then all of a sudden, Mr. Jones, who's living up there, he's doing his whatever, voodoo or whatever, the tefillah is going to say, sorry, I can't go up to Shema, forget it.
Stuck here.
It's stuck, I'm not going higher. Or you have the bathroom. You have the bathroom, the tefillah is stuck in the bathroom. So he says, this is a big problem. Okay, therefore, אין לעשות כלל בית הכנסת אם יש למעלה ממנו דבר מאוס. Says the Taz, don't make a shul if there's anything up there on top of it that's not holy. Now, וכן כתב בית יוסף סימן קנ"ד בשם ההריח, the בית יוסef writes, במלכות to God. Where's to God? Is it Turkey? I think it's Turkey. Yoshua. Therefore, malchut to God. Is that Turkey? To God. With a top. To God. I think it's Turkey. I'm not sure. Bet Yosef writes, malchut to God, yesh lahem bet dira al bet knesset. They live on top of the bet knesset, on top of the shul. You have to be very careful to be clean if you live on top of a shul. Now check this out, Rabotai. Unbelievable words from the Taz, the Turei Zahav. Ani biyalduti, me in my younger years. Haiti dad, I lived b'kahal kadosh Krakow. I lived in Krakow. Im bene beti, with my family. Bebet midrashi, in my midrash. Shaya lema'ala bebet knesset, which was on top of a shul. V'ne'inashti harbe, and I was punished a lot. B'mitat banai, my children died. Lo alenu, because I lived on top of a shul, v'taliti bazeh, and I know that's the reason why they died. He called in his Bet Midrash. That Turei Zahav says he knows that's why his kids died. You want to take the apartment on top of the shul?
Sit down.
Unbelievable. Now, I'm going to read you a little bit from Moreno Verabenu Hacham David Yosef Shalita. Ita, if you're following with me, because you have the new book, I'm going to read in the end of the book, which is like the good part of the book. The end of the book is very long simanim with long teshuvot. Beautiful. I'm going to read on it starts on page 45 in the end. Otzot Yosef. I'm going to only read a few highlights for you. Says Hacham David Yosef. There's a sefer called Sefer Habatim. This is the rabbi I told you about, Moshe. I was trying to find out. His name was Rabbeinu David Kochavi. And he was from the town, somewhere in France. Estella, France. He writes, Rabbi David Kochavi from France. Yesh mi shepasak. I saw a rabbi say, She'is shelo ba'goyim, sheyesh sham dirot goyim, ubate avodah zarah gevuhim b'beit knesset. That if you're in a non-Jewish city with tons of non-Jewish houses that are tall, Magen Avraham said this, it's okay if your house is tall, because there's also non-Jewish houses tall. I don't agree with this. How could you violate the mitzvah? You have to make the shul higher than your house. Yes, Mishekatav. Ita, I'm on page 47 on the top. Yes, Mishekatav, someone who writes, Takfa is strong. I saw somebody write, this is only talking about when the Jewish people are in charge. But if the Jewish people are not in charge, the halakha doesn't count. Who said this? Ashkenazim said this. ויכולים להגביה בית הכנסת כמו שיצאו, and these days do whatever you want. אבל בזמן הזה, שאין ברשותנו להגביה בית הכנסת כמו שנעשה, אין חוששים מדבר. This is what these people say. These days, permits. We can't put the shul very tall. What do you want from us? וזה לא נתבלע לנו, I don't agree. שמכל מקום ברשותנו הוא, שלא נגביה גגותינו. We have the right to lower our house.
You can build a business,
Lower your house also. Very strong. הקמן, דלא ניחלה לרבנו דוד כוכבי, בסברת הנזכרים נעיר להקל. He doesn't agree with any of these Ashkenaz heterim, and he holds from France. You can't do it. Your house has to be shorter than the shul. Now, the Rambam writes, not in Mishnah Torah the Rambam, in a shoot, in a response that he wrote called Pe'er Ador. I don't think it's widely published, especially back then, which will come into play. Maran writes, Lehatid lador ba'aliyah sheme'al bet ha'knesset. He says you can live on top of a shul, milibad hamakom she'al ha'echal. Rambam says, only don't live on top of the Aron HaKodesh. Everywhere else, you can live. Maran Shulchan Aruch said you can't. Maran would argue on Rambam. Unbelievable. Ulfi kol haneskal ha'il, says Hacham David, עדיין צריך ביור, וטעם למנהג שפשט בזמננו, בכל המקומות, everywhere, להקל, לבנות בתים גדולים. Everyone builds big houses. What are we going to do? So he says, if you look at the Maharam Sheikh says, שבאותו חצר עצמו אין להקל, ויביאו בתות, okay, it's fine. Let me skip. He says, ולולה דמסתפינה, איתי, on the bottom of page 48. ולולה דמסתפינה, you know what that means? If not that I was afraid, I'm afraid to put my own 2 cents, but I'm going to say my thing. Hayiti Omer, I would say, Shiledat Rabbeinu Manoach V'Magen Avraham, who are lenient, Af Keshayisel Darim Be'oto Makom Lebadam, Ve'ena Ben Agoyim, even if they live in Israel, all Jews. Im Kevad Banu Chelet Min Asibur Batim Gevuim Mibet HaKnesset, if some people already violated the law and already built mansions, they did something that was not right, these people. Then now the Isur is removed. Hacham David says in an amazing pshat. Hacham David says, yeah, this is the words of Hacham David now. Those are the words of the Rabbi David Kochavi. Hacham David Yosef says a beautiful pshat. He says, I have my own hakira. I have my own way to look at this halakha. He says, I think the two teams that keep fighting against each other, the Ashkenazi team and the Sephardi team, I think they're disagreeing what the Isur is. Do you hold the Isur is a community-wide Isur? This is made up by Hacham David, and it's unbelievably smart. Do you hold it's a community for law? The whole community has to make sure the shul is higher, or it's an individual law? You have to make sure the shul is higher than you. Beautiful. So Hacham David Yosef says, the Magen Avraham and all the Ashkenazim who say, whatever, what could you do? The Goyim houses are bigger. A couple of guys already did it. Their houses are bigger. They hold it's a community-wide law. It's a halacha for the kahal, for the Eid. Once one guy broke it, throw the towel. It's over. No one can come to the city and say, wow, look, the shul's the tallest city in the tallest building in the city. If no one can do that anymore, halas, it's over. There's no point. So they may as well throw the towel. Everyone build your houses high. But the Sephardi poskim who say, I don't care what everybody else is doing. I don't care what the Goyim are doing. They hold it's an individual halacha. You make sure your house is not bigger than the shul. Beautiful pshat, he said. Okay. And then he finishes and he says, that's great. Also, how many shuls is there? One shul in the whole town? So, okay, so sorry, hold your thought, okay? Don't forget it, yeah? The question that someone asked before that you just asked and you asked before is, well, there's so many shuls. What shul do we go by? I think maybe, and I could be wrong, it depends on the same hakira of Hacham David Yosef. If you hold it's an individual halacha, then any shul. If you hold it's a community halacha, your community has to make sure Shaarey, Yerushalayim, Valley, Village, whatever, this block has to make sure that we're lower than Shaarey, Yerushalayim. I don't care if Im Abanim is bigger.
But that comes more into play when destroying the bit.
What is the distance? What the distance from the shul? Give the shul. What the distance around that?
It's a good question. So the Maharam Sheikh, which I didn't read, he asks a question, he doesn't know. What village does it go by? Only the shechuna you live in, or everything? We're not sure.
The people that belong to
That's another question I have. Does it go by the members of this shul? I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds that it has to be a hekera. They keep using this word, a hekera. It has to be heker. People have to be able to walk into a town and say, look, the shul is the tallest building. So if you live in that area, you go by that shul. Doesn't matter if you go to the shul or not. It would seem to me.
Nobody comes to the village to take a short shul.
Oh, so very.
Where you can
Charlie.
Excellent question. So, good question. Hakam Ovadia,
בכיפה הוא 35.
Beit HaMikdash was on the highest place in Israel. Harabayit. It was very tall. We learned this halakha from the Beit HaMikdash. By the way, what Mordechai is saying is very deep.
What is more than I said?
What are they talking about? Okay, guys, let's wrap it up, yeah?
What was the shela?
Mordechai said, what about the Beit HaMikdash itself? How could you be bigger than the Beit HaMikdash? And the answer is the Harabayit is the tallest place in Israel. But when it comes to the living in the attics, there's a Gemara in Pesachim, unbelievable Gemara in Pesachim. Gemara in Pesachim says, did you know that the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, was 2 stories? There was a second floor. There was elevators, not electric, there were rope elevators to the Beit HaMikdash. And the Gemara in Pesachim says the Kiddusha on the second floor was stronger than the first floor, was more Kaddish than the first floor. So if people want to, it's higher. So people want to say the Aliyah on top of the Beit HaKnesset should be even more Kadosh. You shouldn't be able to touch it. That's what some people want to say. He asked the question and he said, Avi asked the question and he said, well, I have my house. And then they decided to build a short shul. I have to shorten my house. So Hakam has a whole teshuvah in Yabiya Omer, not about this halakha, but about living on top of a shul.
I think you're on loose.
But use a nice word for it. Hakam words are Ba'abik Bulum. They came into you, they messed with you. I didn't do anything. They came and they breached your territory. So that would be a head for you.
So when we build this on the area,
That has to do with windows, but.
When you built this, the whole area was low.
now we build in the other side of the street. So the area-
Let's,
Can you go to the city and live in the
no. Hold on a second. Everything. I didn't know. What?
I said, listen, how can I possibly rent this place? I can sue the place. This, I can't move into agreement. It's already there.
Babik Bulum. There you go.
You can't move into agreements, right? You can't.
Babik Bulum. Very good. Okay, guys, let's wrap up the halakha. Hakam David Yosef writes on page 49 on the bottom, he says, Ulukawara, yesh liyashev haminhag le'akil bazeh bizmanenu. Is here his words, yesh liyashev haminhag rabotai. Hakam David is saying, yesh liyashev haminhag le'akil. We have to give people a heter. If people are doing it, we got to give them a good reason and be, what's the word? Militz tov. We have to
accepting it.
You have to give them something to rely on. Everyone's doing it, so let's give them a reason. He says, people over here are doing it anyway. And he says, hold on. He says, therefore, Hakam David, I'm finishing the halakha. Gita, I'm skipping to the end. Page 50 on the bottom. He says, Mikom Akom, this is how he finishes. Mikom Akom, it seems, wherever it's possible to make your house shorter than the shul, don't take the Ashkenaz heterim, and don't be lenient. Make your house shorter than the shul. You should really be strict on this. Like the Hesed Alafim writes, Bezu Lashon, in these words, granted, people are lenient, and there are heterim here. So someone who cares about his soul, someone who's in touch with his soul should be careful with halakha. Ki rabim aberu, because a lot of people transgress this law. V'na'anshu bihurban batim rahman al-islam, and their houses were lost. Rahman al-islam, Hashem should save us. Therefore, we have to be very careful. The hamida sakanta, the Gemara says it's a sakana nefashot. Umihu, however, im hoshesh shelo yishme'u al yagid. If people are not going to listen to you, don't tell them the halakha. Basically, I shouldn't have given the shiur. Basically, don't tell them the halakha if they're not going to listen. Dimutav yu shogegin. Let them be shogeg and not mezid.
But it's not renting a palace. This is building a palace.
We're talking about
Building,
I don't
not
know.
renting.
I think the
place
biggest
that's bigger.
issue is really living above synagogue because, all of these, there is a kelim. Nobody gave a kelim to live above a synagogue. And especially after what the Tas said. And when you go to every city, the synagogue is at the lower level and the entire building is on
I
top.
don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to live on top of a shul after reading the Taz.
No, but you're talking about apartment buildings.
Apartment building.
Apartment buildings.
Yeah.
I think there's a height.
This is what the Meiri writes. The Meiri says,
It's okay.
yeah, it does go very fast. It's true, by the way. Legit. Don't. I just told this to someone on Sunday. If they're not going to listen to you, keep your mouth shut. Don't. So we have to know. So hold on 1 second. Let me finish this one. I'll do the other one. Let's finish this one and then we'll go to the other one. Umashma the mighty. Hold on. Umashma the mighty afilu bedanim bena'akum. The halakha really applies even if it's a non-Jewish area. Culture can in Israel. For sure in Israel it's even worse than in America. The Chena Mishnah Berurah writes, even though he brought the Magen Avraham that says it's okay, he finishes, you should try your best to be strict. This is how he finishes. It's okay, why? Because you have the Meiri. The Meiri writes, you need people to live. But if you don't need a living space and you just decide to build a mansion and you don't need the bedrooms for your children, it's just the two of you and you want to go crazy on top of the shul, it's very shvach, as they say in Arabic, yeah? It's very shvach. You have what to rely upon, Magen Avraham and a couple of Ashkenazim, but you should be careful. Now, the other question about living on top of a shul, this Hacham David's She'elah was talking about building a shul shorter than the Bet HaKnesset, building a house taller than the shul. Hacham David talks about, can I live on top of a shul? And so he says over there that, like you said, Mordechai, he says, we're going to rely on the people who say it's mutar, like Harambam. The Hidah says, Marash Haruch says, Yesh Leistapek. I'm not sure if you could do it. The Hidah says, he has no doubt in his mind, the Hidah says, that if Marash Haruch saw Pe'er Ador, this sefer from the Rambam, there's no way he would argue on the Rambam, and he would immediately agree with Rambam. It's mutar to live on top of a shul, just not on top of the Hechal. Which means the Hidah is saying he doesn't think Marash Haruch read that book. And Hacham Vadia takes this Hidah and he takes it lehalakha. And he says, you can live on top of a shul, be careful how you act in a good way, especially on top of the Hechal HaKadosh. Be very, very careful not to do things there that are not respectful for the shul.
The height above where he lives might be not a problem.
רבי חנן בן ישעיה אומר, ועשה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך, תרבה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר, על רוח חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיד. אמן.